is not just like your classical just rewards, right? There's like this almost like this relationship that needs to be built, this emotional connection.
Emotional connection is really important. You lose a job to someone who knows how to work with AI. One of the first mistake that we see often is not having a clear vision.
Welcome back to the Build by Me podcast. Today we're joined by Hans Laroche, a leading expert in marketing and loyalty with over 35 years of experience. As the co-founder of R3 Marketing, he has helped shape loyalty strategies for brands like Air Miles, Nespresso, and Metro. Hans is also a longtime university lecturer, sharing his expertise with the next generation of marketers.
So we'll dive into the evolution of relationship marketing, the biggest mistakes brands make, and how to create emotional connections that drive real loyalty. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. Today's episode is sponsored by Data Candy. Data Candy is an all-in-one gift card and loyalty platform that is easy to use and simple to set up.
In fact, Data Candy just launched their new social rewards platform. Now you can give loyal members new ways to earn points through social media. To learn more, visit datacandy.com. And now, let's get back into the podcast. Welcome back to the Build My Me podcast. Joining us today, we have Hans. Hans, please introduce yourself.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm Hans Laroche. I'm a senior consultant in loyalty at Adviso, and I'm also the co-founder of R3 Marketing that was bought by Adviso about 3 years ago now.
So you've obviously worked in marketing for quite some time, over 25 years of experience. How has sort of, the relationship marketing with marketing, how has it evolved over time?
Many things have changed in terms of relational marketing, but I think the most important thing that changed for me, I think that I've saw, is the fact that everything that's related to data and technology has moved really, really fast. Now we have a lot of data. The technology in terms of storage, activating data is much lower in terms of cost. 25 years ago, just storing data was very, very expensive. Now it's almost free. So it's the tools have changed. There's many options. There's much more data out there, because there's much more channels.
Yeah.
So and company are lots of brands are getting very good at knowing their customers and using that data. Things
Absolutely.
that we were not able to do like 25 years ago.
Yeah, it's shifting faster and faster. There's way more data out there for sure.
So with this progression, what do you think is the biggest mistake that brands do when talking to customers?
When
Or
talking
trying
to
build the customer relationship, sorry.
I think one of the first mistake that we see often is not having a clear vision of what should be relational strategy. And we often encounter that where, for example, we'll go into a company and we'll go to the C-suite and we'll ask them, okay, what's your view of relational marketing or relationship marketing? And they all have a different view. And if the vision is not clear, is not aligned, then it won't fly, it won't work. So I think that's one of the first, sometimes you have to manage the vision and the change and having a clear vision intern in the company and bring it down to employees before you can implement something. Because if you're saying we're changing from an acquisition strategy to a retention strategy and we're building data, it's not just gonna go in the organization and people won't understand it, and it won't be well executed in terms of strategy, in terms of design, in terms of activation. And one of the biggest mistakes we see also is when people start looking at building a relational strategy or a loyalty program, the first thing they do, they look at technology. And what we say to most of our customers is, don't look at technology, because what happens is most of the time they will buy a solution that is either too expensive for their needs, or they will buy a solution that won't be able to do how the program will be designed. So the functionalities won't be there.
Yeah.
So and technology right now is easier. There's a lot of solutions. So what we're saying to most of our customers is start designing the objective of the program, the strategy, and then you'll
Mm.
make a decision in terms of technology.
See, Hans, we're seeing like a big shift now where loyalty is not just like your classical just rewards, right? There's like this almost like this relationship that needs to be built, this emotional connection, almost in a sense, with customers. Like how how do brands do that? Like how do you actually start building an emotional connection? Because you talk to most companies and it's just like loyalty programs, easy. Just give them some points for the dollars they spend and move on. Like, what are you talking about emotional connection?
Yeah, that's right. And it used to be like that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
25 years ago, it was all about points. You were giving points on total purchase.
Yeah.
Now it's not that anymore. And emotional connection is really important. There's some program or doing, they can do it in promoting value for example, if you look at the value of the brands, and if
Mm.
you can incorporate that into the value of your program. Let me give you an example. Mondu, out of and Pet Value is an example
Yeah.
also. Mondu is a pet storage stain store in Quebec, and they're very good at providing advice for your dog, your cat,
Mm.
and also creating an emotional connection, and giving treats and giving also free stuff when you go there and you buy. And if you bring your
Right.
dog into the store,
Right.
they'll give you a treat. So they're very good. But also it could be built around useful functionality. For example, I love the fact that I can take my Starbucks app and order before, skip the line,
Yes.
and I go back I go to the store, pass in front of the line, pick up my coffee. It says, Hans, good morning, have a great day. So that for me
Yes.
is really strong. PC Optimum is doing a very good job
Yeah.
at playing with points and providing the right offers, but also the right content. Because sometimes when we talk about loyalty, we often think about offers in order to bring people to do more transaction,
Yeah.
or buy more. But if you provide good content that is useful to your customers, and if you know what your customer is looking
Yeah.
for example, if you're and I remember they did that. PC Optimum did that during COVID.
Mm.
A lot of people were struggling with the fact that they were at home with three kids doing all the meals,
Yeah.
and so they provide a lot of content in terms of how to do quick lunch and things like
Right.
that. And and they even gave you access to dietitians.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it was really this is the way good program
Yeah.
build emotion connection with their customers.
That's so interesting because you don't logically think that this is a loyalty program when you're a customer. You're like, oh, they're just providing me value. They're not,
Yeah.
you're not thinking that you're being sold to or anything because you might not even be. You're just providing, as a brand, they're providing value to the customer and I'm receiving it. And I'm not thinking, oh, it's because they want me to buy this or they want me to buy that. I'm just
Yeah.
thinking, well, thank God, because I was looking for a quick meal, or like even the treats that you mentioned. There's a PetSmart by my house, and every time I go there, they give my dog a treat. So now I'm walking her, and she naturally pulls me into the store because she wants to get a treat. And now we're in the store. Now I want to buy a toy, and then it just is like you don't think about it as loyalty as a customer because now I'm like, oh, they just give my dog a treat, but realistically, there's a whole thing at play, a whole strategy at play as to why they're doing that.
Yeah.
So as customers are a little bit more skeptical of being sold to, how can brands build trust with the customers so it doesn't seem too salesy?
Well, I think it's all about what you just said, providing value. Value comes from not only giving points,
Yeah.
giving personalized content
Mm.
is you. And if company will, for example, let me give you an example in the pet industry. It's really if your program is good at getting data from your customers, not only let me give you an example. You want to know, do you own a cat or a dog?
Mm.
If you own a dog, is it a big dog or a small dog?
Right.
Does he have disease? Is he overweight? Does he have diabetes? So the more you give information and the more I ask information, the more I can personalize my communication to you. So if you have a big dog, I won't send you an email talking about small toys,
Yeah, yeah.
or food for small interior dog that don't go out. So
Yeah.
it's all about providing different types of the different content is one of them. Treats, a surprise and delight also in program are very useful, and they are really powerful.
Yeah.
If you receive something free from a program or for a brand and that you don't expect,
Yeah.
It brings trust. It
Yeah.
brings engagement. Also, and I think in what's key in this time of also is providing transparency for what you do
Yeah.
and how you use how you use the data and protecting your data, because every day we see in the world and mainly in the US we see every day loyalty program getting hacked.
Yeah, there's a
So
lot of that now.
yeah,
Absolutely.
That's so scary.
But it's interesting what you mentioned because it almost like forces brands now to, think outside the box a bit and start to actually want to get to know your customers better. Like you have to, right? Like it's you're reaching a point now where it's like if you want to stand out as a brand, you need to go above and beyond just, it's a transaction, see you later kind of thing. If you want the customer to become loyal to you, like actual loyalty. It's not like, back in the day we were talking about this with points. Now you have to really start thinking about like what do my customers actually want? And it's interesting you mentioned the pet example, right?
yeah,
It's like what's a treat gonna cost? Like nothing. And you're right, now with creative behavior, habits, the dog wants to go into the store because they know there's a treat waiting for them.
Mm-hmm.
But then to the customer, they're like, wow, these guys actually care about my pet. They're not just trying to sell me stuff, right?
yeah.
So you really have to now as a brand force yourself to sit there as an organization and think about your customers and think about how can I actually add value. But I want to flip it a little bit and talk about retail, because retail in general is such a competitive industry, right?
Yeah.
And then now more than ever, especially with online, more and more transactions are happening online versus offline and in store. What do you think is the secret today for customers or to keep customers loyal within retail?
I think there's a lot of element. I think I would say one of the first one would be probably the in-store and online experience.
Yeah.
You know, if your experience in store or online is bad, a loyalty program won't do anything to you.
Yeah.
It won't help you. So you need to. So now we're talking about omni-channel, seamless communication, also understanding what people are doing in on the mobile, buying in store, and being able to say we're talking a lot about it's all about data. So for
Yeah.
example, if you cannot link what your customer is buying online versus in store, then you have half the story.
Yeah.
So it's mainly about experience is getting key. Look who's was the best and the most satisfying retailer in the world. It's Amazon.
Yeah.
Why?
Absolutely.
Because the experience is so amazing. Uh, I travel a lot and I use Uber. I hate this company because that company is not a good company. They don't pay taxes. Many reasons why it's not a good company, but their app is so amazing. The
Yeah.
experience is such incredible that I use it all the time.
Yeah.
Because if I don't use Uber, I end up in a shitty taxi that smells bad and that's an old car. It's not clean. When I take a Uber, it's always clean. It's always a new car. The guy is polite. And it's fun to watch the little car,
Yeah.
Come by,
Where is
right?
it?
getting back to you, coming back closer to you, and you have 1 minute. So it's very useful. There's a lot of experience, and the mobile is getting more and more important because
Yes.
everyone, and we see it, we publish a yearly study called the loyalty study, and we see people interacting with mobile more and more and more. So the experience on the mobile
Yeah.
has to be great, and also what type of feature can you bring on the mobile that's going to be useful for your customer, like skip the line at Starbucks, for example.
Yeah.
Now Sam's Club in the US, they have grab and go. You take your phone, you scan your
right.
product, put it in your bag, you
You leave.
just
Yes.
leave. So people like fast convenience, good experience. So I think it's the key now, and it's getting more and more complicated to do because there's more and more channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like the perks now are like when you become a loyalty member, it's not just about the points, it's about the perks that come with it. So you're getting unique value added,
Yeah.
features that no one else gets.
Yeah, and lots of program are now are saying if you want the whole benefit of all the benefits of the program, you have to use our app.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when you use the app, you're more engaged, you interact more often with the brand,
Yeah.
and you're more loyal. So
yeah, yeah,
so
absolutely.
I think that makes a lot of sense, especially when you're talking about the experience with customers. I feel like we're a lot more expectant of having something that's seamless when it comes to my mobile versus in person. So having something like pick up, like ordering before and picking up, we all want convenience. People don't like waiting in line. So you're solving a problem for the customer when it comes to loyalty. But you mentioned personalization. How do they get personalization without asking for it? Because they need you to have purchase decisions. So you mentioned the pet example, for example. If you have a big dog versus a small dog, you're not asking me that when I'm signing up for your loyalty program, right? You're getting that information as I purchase certain things, right?
Then
Or can they ask?
no. Usually they will ask.
Really?
Usually there's a what we call that onboarding.
Okay.
So, for example, I want you to get into my program as fast as possible.
Yes.
So I'll ask you three things: your name, or two things: your name and your email address. Your sign in. The next email you'll receive is, can you complete your profile and get 2,000 points? Some company will pay
Yeah.
you $20 to complete your profile because it's key to them. So if I don't know if you have a dog or a cat,
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you a generic newsletter,
Yeah.
which is less relevant.
Yeah.
But if the title of the new email is "Hey, how to make your big dog lose weight," and you have a big dog that is overweight, you'll open it.
Yeah.
So, but if it talks about cat, you won't open it.
Right.
So you need to ask for this information as soon as possible. But of course, you can get it down the road with the transactional data because okay, he's buying large bags for large dog.
Right.
So yes, but most of the program will try to make you engage and share a lot of data. So let me give you an example. If you're let's say a Home Depot or a Rona, what you want to what you want to know is out of my clients, which one have a renovation project.
Yeah.
So sometimes they will make contests and say, do you plan to do a renovation of your bathroom, of your kitchen in the next 3 or 6 months?
Yeah.
And if you say yes, then they will try to send you some tips, offers in order to buy your stuff for renovation at their
They
location.
definitely got me. It's like, are you? It's like win a basement renovation or something like that. I'm like, how'd you know? I signed up for it. It's like now they know. Now all my emails are like
About basement
drywall
renovation.
and things I
That's
need
so
for a basement
smart
reno.
because that is just again, it's just value. So if I'm
Yeah.
seeing that, I'm like, there's something in it for me. Like it's not just giving you my data that you can later on use, but it's like this is immediate almost. It's like you didn't win. What did you win?
100%.
Yeah.
No, I did not win.
Yeah,
No.
but you didn't
I did
win,
finish
but
my basement, but I didn't win the free basement. But
to me,
they
that's
got
like
all the information they needed from me.
exactly
Yeah.
because it checks something off my brain. I'm like, oh, I just signed up for a giveaway that I actually really want. But then as the brand, you're like, oh, we know that they want a renovation.
100%. I want to ask you about going back to retail. So I mean, when it comes to direct marketing, it used to be always about flyers and even emails are still a thing today, right? But what does successful direct marketing look like today?
Now it's all about email, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
because the problem with emails is everyone is sending emails
Mhm.
because they're free.
Yeah,
They used to be direct mail.
Yeah.
It was very effective, and still some company are still using direct mail, and in combination with emails and newsletter and all those stuff, and it's working really well. And it's the reason is that, and what we've seen also, and we do that with lots of our customer or our clients, we help them since it's free, it's not optimized. So people will send email, but the open rate is not there. The conversion rate is not there. So it's probably one of the area right now in relational marketing that is less optimized.
yeah,
And we have a big team at our office who do only this with our clients. So help them how to structure an email, how to use the data, how to put the right picture, the right subject, the right colors,
Yeah.
and see which one and making some tests, A/B testing.
yeah,
So, but also what's really growing really fast is SMS, text message.
yeah.
And right now, the average open rate of email is around 20%. It's 65% for SMS.
Really?
And
That's
the
high.
conversion rate is 30% compared to 15% for email. So and it's working really well, and mainly there's many reasons. For example, young kids or younger crowd, maybe not
Right.
young kids, but younger crowd as yourself are, my kids are in the 20s. If I want to talk to them, I don't email them. I text them.
Right.
They don't answer
Yeah,
email.
yeah,
Yeah.
So and even brand like PC Optimum are sending SMS, and they're doing in a very efficient way. And for example, they say, okay, we have additional rebate for you guys, or additional way of getting adding points or redeeming points,
Mm,
and just click to the link and you enter into a game or you see additional offers.
right.
So it's getting more and more use, and also push notification. That's why
Big. That's
it's
huge.
it's it's huge also. But email is still the biggest medium, but it's not efficiently used.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, like there's a wide mix of like brands that do a really good job with email, and then brands are just like you're clearly just sending this generic email to everybody, right? So
Yeah.
it's hard.
Yeah.
But then you're right, the SMS has this like level of urgency because you see it and your phone rings and you're like, oh, who would I get a text message from, right? Versus email, it's like I'm not checking my email every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But if I get a notification on my phone, who is that? You know what I mean? Like, what is this all about? So
It-
you're more likely to actually engage with that versus email.
It's
Yeah.
almost a different like level of like intimacy, quote unquote, because I know with like
Mm.
email, I know it's going to be a business or it's going to be more professional or it's work, right? Versus a text message, you're thinking it's friends and family, so you check that more often. Like, yes, it could still be a brand, but it's like, okay, it's right here on my phone. Versus checking my emails also on my phone, it can also get me a notification right away, but I automatically equate email with impersonal, and then my text messages with something personal.
Yeah, and also brands are giving rewards. If you Sephora is a love brand, and they have an amazing loyalty program. You
Yeah.
probably know that. And they will give you, if you sign up for their text message, you will get additional points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they have special offers for you, which is our new products, our new collection, and so people like that. So it's getting to be really efficient.
You mentioned something earlier about paying for data, which I think is really interesting. Because you mentioned like, how some brands will even like pay you like up to $20
To complete your profile.
complete your profile, right? And it's just
Yeah.
that's really if you think about it from a brand's perspective, it's like you can if you really want to get your customer, and if you want to turn that customer into a long time customer who's going to purchase from you, what's $20 in the long run, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely
Lifetime value is like a lot more than that,
Huge.
so
Yeah.
might as well.
And and loyalty program are all about data.
Yeah.
The card that they put in your hand, for example, to go at Loblaws or to go at Esso, it's only a way to get your data. That's why we have loyalty program. Companies don't want to give points; they want your data.
Yeah.
So and now and now we're entering in another phase where there's different types of data. There's transactional data. There's also behavioral data. So
Yeah.
for example, if you're a member of Pet Value or Modu in Quebec, and you go on the website, and it's been 3 times that you look at a special cushion for your big dog,
Right.
then I can know that and maybe send you an article on cushions and an offer on cushions.
Yes.
So I can combine behavioral data on my website, or even what are the main subject title email that you open, and I can know that, and I can use that in order to better send you some better subject or better offer.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting too is you're also seeing now there's brands getting into like the whole I'll reward you, I'll give you points if you do certain specific tasks, like follow us on Instagram,
Yeah,
engage with us, or connect your profile, or you know what I mean. Like, and
Absolutely.
now you actually understand not just like their personal information or their personal preference, you're now connected to them through social media as well.
yeah, and this is a big thing. Engagement. Most of the program in the past were really focused on giving points on transaction. Now they want to drive engagement. So and there's many ways to drive engagement. So download or a mobile app,
Yeah.
get some points.
Yes.
refer a friend,
Good
link your
points.
social media.
It's
Uh,
true.
and just to give you an example of some company in the US, like Target, what they're doing is for example, they're asking their loyalty member customers, say, if you join your Pinterest or your Facebook account to your
Mm,
profile, we'll give you points. And what they're able to do with that is they're able to look at trends in
yes.
colors,
Yes.
in fashion, in furniture, that they're looking at what their best customers are liking.
They can make purchasing decisions.
Exactly. They feed the purchase department and the merchandising people, saying, okay, next year, those are the trends we're seeing with our best customers. They're looking at this color of clothing, this type of clothing. So we should have more of those in store,
Right.
so or online, for example. So you get a lot of data from that. So now the data game is changing completely, and with the arrival of AI,
Yeah.
it's a complete game changer. It's getting
Target's really targeting. Interesting.
Target is amazing.
That's really cool, actually.
Yeah, they're very advanced. American Airlines is doing a good job also with
Mm.
AI. There's a lot of companies in the US. We're a bit late in the game in Canada. We were discussing that in the conference a few minutes ago. It was
Mm.
interesting. We're late in we're a bit behind.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's no, American are more business driven, promotional driven, and they're bigger company with more money. There's more people, so I think
But
we're
do you feel like Canadians in general, we have like a more like a bigger like we have our wall up a little
Like
bit. Like,
barrier to entry a little bit. Yeah.
I don't know what you want. Why do you want my data? You know what I mean? Kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like, what do you want from me?
no.
Do I
I
give you
don't
my
think.
email? I don't know if
Yeah,
I'll give you my email.
I don't think it's mainly that. I think that the competition is so strong in the U.S.
Ah, yeah, that makes sense.
You have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be so good, and they have you, the size of the companies, Target.
Yeah.
We don't have any companies in that size in Canada. So it's they have the means, they have the money, they have the vision. So we're in Canada. It's not. I don't think it's. We're also less consumerism.
Mm,
We're not, the American, they buy stuff
absolutely.
and they eat
Yeah.
at
It's
restaurants, and
bigger
we're
demographic too.
it's different way of
Much larger
consuming things,
demographic.
and so that's another reason. And we're a bit late in e-com.
Yeah.
We're a bit late in looking at data and implementing AI, but it's gonna come. It's just a matter of time.
Absolutely.
Right. So you've worked with brands like Loblaws and Bridgestone. So like, what are some key lessons that you've learned about customer loyalty from working with these brands?
I think it goes back to having the vision,
Mm.
to having a C-suite that understands the power of data and understand that if they want to do that, they'll have to make trade-off in terms. They cannot
Right.
spend
Yeah.
the same amount on everything, have the same advertising budget, and being good. So they have to make some strategic decision. And when they understand, that they can leverage data and they can have a clear vision on how they want to build relationship with their customers, and they get that down into the organization, then the rest follows.
Mhm.
So I think it's that for me is the key learning that for my experience with the business.
We talked about like relationship marketing and loyalty, right? And when it comes to like storytelling, brands having to kind of like build a story, build a relationship with their customers. But do you think customers are actually connecting with brands? Like on a you know what I mean? Like, you think that's actually happening?
That's a good question. I think storytelling is a bit overrated
Mm,
on my part, but to answer your other question, I think we all have love brands. I don't know, but I have a few brands that I love that I follow,
absolutely, yeah.
and you probably have some, and you have some. So, and yes, I like storytelling, but I think what customer are looking for is make my transaction as seamless as possible, as fast as possible, as more fun or easier, or and make it fast. Make sure you have the good price. People are not looking absolutely to have the best price all the time.
Hmm.
We all shop at Amazon, less now, probably.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's true.
and but they don't have always the best price.
Yeah.
Most of the time they're
They
more
used to.
They used
yeah
to,
at
yeah.
the
That was their
beginning.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
it's
But
like,
now it's not. If you really take the time
To look.
to look,
Mhm.
you'll find it cheaper somewhere else.
That's
But
true.
the experience is
Exactly.
so good
It's
and it's
behavior.
so fast, and
Yeah.
also just to return. If you're not satisfied,
It's that
the
part.
return part of it is
Mhm.
so easy. You
So
click one button.
easy. They come to your house now. It's
They come,
amazing.
yes, and
So-
they don't. You don't even need to package it up. They're like,
Yeah.
look, we can just
Here's
take
my
it.
cable.
Yeah,
It's too short.
I'm
Take
like,
it.
oh, okay, cool, and it'll come quicker too. So it's like, yes, it could be cheaper somewhere else, but at what cost?
So I think storytelling is it is interesting, and it can be well utilized, but at the end, I think the consumer is looking for value. Give me the information, provide me the way to buy it in a
Right.
non-friction way, and so I think it's a bit overrated
So,
for my part.
what's the line when it comes to personalization or making things easier for the customer? What's the line between personalization and it's good and helpful versus now it's creepy and why do you know this information about me?
Yes, I think the creepy part is it's mainly exception that we see that
Yeah.
it doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, I think some people are more skeptical about it though. Like when you mentioned about like if I look at something on the website, it makes sense to us. We're marketers. We know the back end of things, right? So you were on the website, you've looked at this cover or this
Yeah.
thing, over and over again, and so then you get an email about it. For us, that just makes sense, right? When I get my friends will be like, "Why did I get an email about this?" I'm like, "We've been talking about going to Thailand, and now you're getting ads for Thailand because we've been talking about it. We've been looking it up, so obviously it makes sense that you're getting these ads. But
Yeah.
since they don't have a marketing mindset, they're just saying this is so creepy. Like, how do they know?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be creepy, but I think since cookie will disappear
Mhm.
or are starting to disappear,
Mm.
you will see less of this in your face advertising on your
Yeah.
social media because it
Yeah.
won't be possible anymore.
Yeah.
But if you tell your customer that you're using the data when they go on your website, when they do a transaction because they're a member of your loyalty program, and also it's all about before, and that's a good example. Before sending an email saying, "Oh, you've seen you look at this 3 times on the website," do a test. Test it
Yeah.
to 2,000 customers, see how they react.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
point.
and you'll understand if your customer react instead of doing once and sending it to
Everybody.
200,000
Right.
members. So do a test, see what's the elasticity or the acceptation rate from your customers,
Right.
and then you'll see where to put the bar and where to stop.
Right.
So
Absolutely. I wanna ask you about you're also you've been a lecturer for many years, like
Yeah.
lecturing on marketing for over 20 years.
Yeah.
If like what is one consistent piece of advice that you give to students?
I think the one I give the most often advice is I'm telling them, get out of your social media, stop wasting time, and read good stuff. If you wanna, if you're, because I teach mainly at the master degree,
Yeah.
so they wanna move up in the company. I said, if you wanna move up in the company, there's so many good content out there. If you're in marketing, if you're in finance, if you're in technology distribution, just read the good article, go to the good podcast, uh, buy the good books, stop wasting time
Yeah.
on TikTok and things like that because
Yeah.
it's not gonna help your business. And when you're to a company, and this have been someone told me this about 35 years ago when I started my career. He said, if you want to be ahead of the curve, and you better just read. And it's important to read. And if you read, you'll know the trends. You'll know much. Sometimes you'll know more than your boss.
Yeah.
And it gives you an advantage, and it gives you also lots of insight on how to do your job. So one of the main reason I still teach is because it obliged me to read a lot, to be always have the right example, and
Right.
so I think I think they spend too much time on
The
social media.
doom scrolling, quick doom scrolling.
What's a book that you recommend? A podcast that you recommend?
Many books. It depends. You are talking about a marketing book or a personal book.
Either one. Let's do both.
Okay,
A marketing book or
think
something that'll
on,
help.
on a marketing book, I don't read a lot of marketing book. I read a lot of marketing article. But on a personal books, if you read the book of, I think an interesting book to read in terms of business is Patagonia, the Yvon Chouinard book saying, "Let my employee go surfing."
Mm.
That's an amazing book, and there's a lot of insight into business and the way this guy. Because I think if you look at companies that are that have a clear vision, Patagonia is one of them,
Big time.
big
Yeah,
time,
I
and
agree.
they put their money where their mouth is, and what he's been doing, the way he didn't never went public, even though he could have made a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
And all the anecdotes that he has from his business are amazing. So, and I think in this book there's business, but also how socially we should, be as a company or interact with our employees. I think it's a great book. It's an amazing book.
I love it.
Yeah.
I want to ask you one last question before we wrap up. If a brand wants to build like a stronger relationship with customers, what's the first thing that they should focus on?
But again, it comes back to, I think, the same answer I gave you a few minutes ago. It's what's the vision? What's our objectives in terms? Because there's many ways to do relational marketing. Just using, even if you have limited data, just using limited data to do a very good job in emailing.
Mm-hmm.
Optimizing emailing will do a difference in terms of building relationship, because if you have the right subject, the right content, and we cannot have, it's not, you cannot operate a company now having a newsletter in French and English. It doesn't work anymore. You're dead. So you need to have data. You need to have a clear vision of where you want to be in terms of your relation strategy. I could do a loyalty program. I could do a membership program, a premium program. I could do an email strategy based on limited data. The French sport banner with Decathlon. Do you have Decathlon in Ontario?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing an amazing job. They don't have a loyalty program. They just have a relational program. They say, if you give us your email and you take this card with a barcode for your member, we'll give you access to this, and you can return products. You can try products. You can return them. And they just use the data, and they do a very good job in personalizing the communication. If they see that I buy only camping stuff,
Right.
I will have let's say they find out that 80% of my purchase are related to camping. They will send me a camping newsletter. So I think the first thing for company is to have a clear vision of where they want to go, what type of data they need, and how they want, what type of relational strategy they want to build with their customer. And then after that, it's all about data. If you use the data properly, you can create value. And creating value doesn't have to be points.
I love it. Do you ever see like a world in the future where all that customization, all of that's happening via AI, and like there's no sort of like loyalty team within bigger organizations?
No. There will always be people managing AI. Always. I think you probably heard that you won't lose your job to AI. You will lose your job to someone who knows how to work with AI.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So no, but it's a game changer. We're seeing what some of the biggest brands are doing with AI, and it's amazing. But the problem with the AI is that the AI feeds on data. If your data is not clean, well structured, that AI won't do anything. So what when we work with our customers, what we're saying to them is, for each dollar you'll invest in AI, you'll have to invest $3 in data. So collecting data, governance of data, and
all that,
managing it.
yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
but it's coming, that's for sure, and it's a game changer in terms of what it can do in terms of personalization and the speed that can it can read sentiment. For example,
Yeah.
if you speak with a chatbot, it can sense that you're frustrated.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
will
yeah.
direct you to a real representative that will take the call.
Ah.
And even though by text or by email, so there's a lot of stuff right now. Target, they launched a AI companion for the employee in store that they can use in order to, if a customer comes with a question on let's say he wants to return a product, he doesn't have the invoice, you just ask the companion, and the companion will give them the right the procedure. And
Oh wow.
so it's really helping personalization, customer service.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's a game changer for sure.
Thank you so much. This was such a great conversation.
Cool. I hope
Yeah.
you liked it.
Yeah, no, it was
awesome.
great. Yeah, such great insights to share on relational marketing and customer loyalty and just building that customer trust. So
Where can people find you?
So my email address is H Laroche, so HLAROCHE at adviso.ca, ADVISO.
Awesome.
And that wraps up today's episode of the Build by Me podcast.
as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. And if you're feeling extra generous, leave us a rating.
And as always, if you have any suggestions or want us to cover certain topics, just leave a comment below.
Until next time.
Keep building.